Hi, this is Deb, your course librarian. I'm back with the last video in the series about sources for your organism and disease research project. In the first video, we talked about reference and general background information. In the second video, we talked about finding scholarly or peer-reviewed articles in the library databases. And in this third video, I want to talk about some open access sources that will be available to you through the library, but also are available on the web and are good for you to know about for your future career. So in the guide that's behind MCC Library Resources in the Find Articles tab, if we scroll down, there's a list of some online databases, and we have a mix here of those that we subscribe to and those that are open access. And open access just means they are openly published. So one is Directory of Open Access Journals, which actually comes up in the OneSearch search. So I'm not going to show you that separately today, but it's good to know about. It's out there. It's 10,000 peer-reviewed scholarly journals, but they are across all kinds of disciplines, so they're not just related to science. But the ones I wanted to show you that are science and health related, Biomed Central, and you just click on this search at the top in order to bring a box up. And you can see that you have a list of articles that came up with Hansen's disease or leprosy, and you can sort them by date. So very recent things. This just published. This is the 17th as I'm recording this, so this published a couple of days ago. And in order to look at any of these articles, and interestingly, this one doesn't look like it actually has anything to do with Hansen's disease, but this one is a World Health Organization meta-analysis about antibiotic and other treatments for treatment of leprosy that came out in January of 2020. You can click on the title, and it will give you information about the sections of the paper. You can read it here by scrolling down, but you can also get a PDF by downloading it here, and that'll open it up. And a PDF is helpful because, as we discussed, you can download it, so you could save it to your computer. You might find a citation, or at least the information that you need for a citation here. And I just want to remind you that if you want to double check the format, you can come back to the library guide, citing sources, open this up, and there'll be information about the proper way to cite an online journal article. So you would just look at the information to get the pieces of the citation that you need. So it's pretty easy to use, and you can jump around to the different sections of the paper and look at them. You can look at the references, and many of those are also linked, so you could go see these articles as well. So that's pretty handy, and it's, because it's open access, something that you can look at, like I said, whether you are enrolled in an MCC class or at another college or not. It's good to know about. So another good source of open access information is the CDC. And last time we just looked at their website. We had done a search online and we found a reference to one of their infectious disease websites. This time I want to show you CDC Stacks, which is an archive of research publications of all kinds housed at the CDC. So again, we'll just enter Hansen's disease and do a search. And it looks a little bit different than the library databases, but it does contain an awful lot of information. We got 239 results. You can look at different kinds of documents. You can see there are journal articles, pamphlets, all kinds of things. You'll notice that the dates went back pretty far. So it started in 1931 and goes all the way to the present. There are many different areas of the Centers for Disease Control that might publish, so different advisory councils and centers. There are different study areas, so the places where the articles are focusing on. So lots of different ways to narrow it down. You can open these as PDFs. So it does have some tools that you can use here, such as emailing it to yourself, but you're going to have to create your own citation format. There isn't a citation here that you can just copy and paste. This export citation is a kind of a funny format. So it's the situation where you're going to need to look at the article title. This is the journal title here, and volume and page numbers. This is the date. And then if you scroll down, in the article, sorry, here are the authors. And so you would go back to MCC Library Resources and take a look at the citation information and figure out what you need to cite an online article, and just copy that information and create your citation that way. So it's a little bit more complicated, but if you find a good source, well worth it, and all of the information is available for you if you just look at it closely. And you can download the PDF, which might be an easier way to access all of that information. And this is slightly different than searching the actual CDC website, which is going to give us even different information. Oops. This gave us even more results. There are different formats that the results are in. And this is that site in the first video that we looked at with the general information. And you could scroll down and find lots of other information from the CDC. So Centers for Disease Control, especially if you're going into public health, is a really good source of information online. And I'll just show you one more site. It's called The Conversation. And The Conversation is a website where scholars and researchers in a variety of fields translate their research for a general reading public. So since that's part of your assignment, I thought it might be an interesting site for you to take a look at and know about. So I search again for Hansen's disease. I got an article here that is by a researcher at Colorado State University, and he talks about his work in this field. So again, that's 3 different places where you can do research, additional research for your organism and disease project: The Conversation, the CDC website and CDC Stacks, and Biomed Central. And you can reach CDC Stacks and Biomed Central right here in the biology guide. So that concludes our mini series on how to do research for this project. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me in Canvas or to get in touch with someone at the library in all of these ways.